Hello and welcome to Phone Arena's in-depth video review of the T-Mobile Tap, which is currently available right now. It's one of the first devices from the Chinese manufacturer Huawei to hit the US market. It's your traditional looking candy bar touchscreen phone, and it really doesn't try to be too flashy in its looks. We're going to take a look if it has enough features to really be compelling enough for customers in the US to look at. It's not a bad thing that the T-Mobile Tap takes a conservative approach to its design. We definitely like the usual looking touchscreen candy bar form factor that we've seen used heavily in other devices. The blue soft touch material that they utilize on the back and also on the front feels really good in the hand and doesn't get the device too dirty. At the same time, it does provide for a pretty good grip. Size though, it's fairly well sized and has a resemblance close to the recently released Samsung Highlight. Weight, it has a good weight to it. It's neither too heavy or too light and just perfect for this type of device. Powering on the phone for the first time, you'll be greeted to its 2.8-inch QVGA display, which has support for up to 262,000 colors. Now, just comparing it to other touchscreen phones, the display wasn't as sharp or responsive as we liked it to be. On top of that, colors did look a little bit washed out and just didn't seem stand out as much. Sometimes text also looked a little bit fuzzy, depending on the application you run. Now, right below that, you have your hardware buttons, typical layout, your send and end key, and directional pad, which are all well sized. On the right side, you have your dedicated camera button, lock unlock, and your volume rocker. And the top, you have your mini USB port for charging, and also the power button, which is a little bit hard getting it to press. On the back, you have a 2-megapixel camera with speakerphone, and when you remove the back cover, it gives you access to the battery, SIM card slot, and the micro SD card. The T-Mobile Tap's interface looks similar to what we see on TouchWiz devices with Samsung. On the left side, you have your selection of widgets which you can place on the home screen. For the most part, most of them are just icons that actually launch the full program applications themselves. It kind of has a gimmicky look to it, and as we said, is very similar to what we see on TouchWiz. It doesn't offer the depth or really neat factor with it. When you get to the main menu, it does have a transition effect, which is heavily used throughout the device. At times, though, we do notice that the phone kind of stalls at different points or different application you run, but it's really simple and straightforward with its finger-size friendly icons. Sending messages on a T-Mobile Tap can be either a frustrating or a pretty good experience depending on which input method you actually use. Now, the one we have right now is the numeric keypad with T9 on, just to give you a little bit better predictive option as you type your messages. So it's really quick just because buttons are a little bit bigger, and we prefer this method out of all of them. When you turn to its side, it'll give you the full QWERTY keyboard, but the screen is just a little bit unresponsive, and whenever we did try to speed type, we did notice making a lot of mistakes, and the device just had a hard time recognizing our presses. So we just preferred the numeric keypad with T9. For being a touchscreen phone, the T-Mobile Tap's web browsing experience really took us back. We were kind of really disappointed with its overall experience. Now, our site took approximately over 2 minutes to fully load, and we always saw the device constantly re-rendering the page to load up everything correctly. Scrolling could be a little bit an issue just because it's a little bit unresponsive and laggy at times. Zooming in, you could use the bar. You could press the icon, and there's a bar on the right side here that allows you to zoom in, zoom out. But if you do try to zoom in slightly, it's going to refresh the whole page and, of course, re-render everything again, which is just a nightmare just trying to use the web browser. We actually like the music player that's loaded on the T-Mobile Tap. It's just a really basic looking one, but we do like the equalizer look to it on the left-hand side. As far as the speakerphone is concerned, volume was pretty good, had pretty good tones. It didn't have quite as a strong presence to it, but it didn't crackle at all. And whenever you do go back to the home screen, it will continue to play in the background and give you this little bit notification just to remind you. For a touchscreen phone, we were really shocked with the T-Mobile Tap's experience watching videos. As you can see, as we're playing this movie trailer, it's really choppy looking and just has a hard time catching up with even the most basic video resolutions. When you turn to its side to landscape, it does slightly a little bit better as far as being pushed out towards the whole length of the screen, but still, as you can notice, just a choppy look to it and just really has a hard time catching up. Using the 2-megapixel camera in the Tap to take images, photo quality came out average at best with even the best lighting conditions. Indoor shots had a tendency to have some, darker tones to the overall shot, and colors looked a little bit on the neutral side. When you do try to take video on the T-Mobile Tap, it has only a maximum resolution of 240 by 320, so videos captured with it were extremely pixelated and a little bit choppy, so it's probably best reserved for MMS use. Phone call quality in a T-Mobile Tap was a disappointment, to say the least. First of all, the biggest and glaring issue we had with it was the constant hissy static sound in the background on our end that made talking seem like as if we were on a walkie-talkie. Callers did state that our voice did sound clear on their end. Even when you switched to the speakerphone, we still heard the same exact static sound, which again just made it really difficult to converse with the other person. As far as battery life is concerned, we managed to get a solid 12 hours of talk time, which is more than exceeds the manufacturer's rating of 5 hours of talk time. Retaining signal had no problems with the T-Mobile Tap. It managed to keep 3G speeds better than most T-Mobile phones. At the same time, we didn't have any drop calls or any issues with that. It's really difficult to see the T-Mobile Tap winning over customers with its design and also usability. With all the issues it has, from phone call quality to the web browsing experience, it had just too many problems to really stand out and be a usable device. So as far as being a first device for Huawei, the Chinese manufacturer, we're a little bit disappointed with its results. And we could probably find better devices out there, like the Samsung Highlight, for a lot better, more usability and also better experience. If you want to check out a review, you could check out our website at phonearena.com.